Hi, welcome to the Crafty Mariana Podcast. I am your host, Mariana, former corporate marketing girly turned crafting workshop host. And if you ever thought, can my crafts actually make money? Then this is the show for you. Each episode, I share stories from creative entrepreneurs who dare to think a little bit different and went beyond the make and sell model, along with lessons from my own journey building a six-figure workshop business. You can expect honest conversations about what it really takes to build a creative business. So grab yourself a cup of tea and let's dive in. And we are live to another Crafty Mariana episode. Today we have Susan Schwager with us to chat about the workshops that she's been doing. And I'm really excited to talk with Susan because she's a former member of the Academy and I've been seeing your stuff on social media and I'm always just so excited about your workshops. I don't know how many, I don't know much. I've tried to kind of stalk you on social media to kind of see, in the best way possible, to kind of see what you're doing. But I have so many questions and I think your journey, it really feels like you are kind of like a woman on a mission. And I really love to hear about those stories and learn with you and just share your story to more people. So without much, rambling from me, I will pass it on to Susan to kind of explain, who are you? I know you live in Australia, right? Sydney?
Yeah, I'm in
correct?
Sydney.
But yeah, if you want to explain us, who are you and what you're doing and how this kind of workshop journey started for you.
Sure. So my husband, Chris, had an accident in 2023 and it was quite horrific. And after that, we wanted to do all the things, we wanted to truly live. And we have always wanted to take our kids to Lapland. Do you know Lapland in Finland? It's literally where Santa lives.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah. So we did this big European trip. We had our first white Christmas last Christmas. And I planned this trip meticulously. I've got two young girls and it's I wanted us to be in Strasbourg, which is the capital of Christmas in France, on Christmas Eve. And we also went to Disneyland on this trip. And when I was I planned this trip for them and it was I wanted to make it really memorable. I wanted them to meet Santa in Lapland, all of the things. And we were in Disneyland and it was a really beautiful day. It started to get, because it was 6 degrees, which is quite cold. It started to drizzle all day. And then my kids were like, Mom, it's really cold. Can we go? I'm no, this is a dream come true, being in Paris, Disneyland with you girls. As a family, I'm we're not going anywhere. I was don't ask me. We can go wait for Cinderella because it's inside for 2 hours, but we're not going. We're waiting for the parade at the end. And we get to the parade. It's 4:30. It is so cold. We've been so cold all day. We've been outside all day. And I see all the kids lining up for the parade and all the prams are pushed aside. It's really well organized by all the mums. And then all of the adults come and they just stand in front of these little kids who now cannot see anything. And I was oh, isn't this interesting? They just do not give a crap that the kids can't see. And then the parade starts. It's a big procession and they're on stages on vehicles and they all come out one after the other. So Mickey and Minnie and all the princesses and they're all dancing and everything. And I see these adults who are 40, 50, 60. They're all there and their faces just light up. And I was oh my God, this is it, right? They haven't just been waiting for a parade. They've been waiting for this all of their lives. They've been wanting this forever. And, my kids have only known about Disneyland for the last 3-4 years or so. But these adults have been waiting for this all of their lives. And I thought, your childhood dreams don't die. They just grow old with you. And I thought how magical it is to honor your inner child and to do the things that you've always wanted to do. So also on this trip, we went to Lapland, we met Santa. And again, that was a dream come true for me. It was I grew up and we didn't celebrate Christmas because culturally we didn't. And I never received a present. I didn't have that magic of Christmas. So for me to meet Santa and he gave me a little present, it was just a little key ring, but it was just I felt seen. I felt that little part of me, it healed all of that for me. And, we went on husky rides and we did all of the things. We stayed in a glass igloo. It was so beautiful. And I came back and I just wanted to bottle up this experience. And it wasn't just the holiday. It was that I did so much that my inner child wanted to do. And I wanted to capture that. Like, I wanted to honor her and do things that I love. And it was like, well, what do I love to do? I was like, I actually love to craft. I've always been creative. I wanted to be a fashion designer when I was younger. So I studied fashion for 3 years at East Sydney Tech. And I worked in the fashion industry for 20 or so years. After that, I ended up in digital publishing. So I actually lost my job after I returned from maternity leave in fashion. And it was like, I felt like I always wanted to go back to my creative roots, but I just I guess I had like other priorities with having young children and things like that. Yeah, it literally came to me like a download, if I'm really honest. Like, I woke up one morning and I just saw it. And it was women sitting together, connecting with their inner child, with themselves, and with one another. So I created it. I got back. I had a little trial run with 5 of my friends. They came to my house on Valentine's Day. And they loved it. So I thought maybe I can just sell tickets. So I did. I found a local cafe to me and I said, can I have a workshop here at night when you're closed? And she said, yep, what night do you want to do it? I sold tickets via Eventbrite and it sold out. So then I did it again and again and again. And I sold out the first 4 times that I did it. So it's been quite the journey and so much fun. It really lights me up.
Yeah, that sounds so awesome. I feel like I don't like totally relate with your story because we've had very different stories, but I can totally see like sometimes you have these experiences and you're like, I want to replicate this for other people. And I think that's a very common thing with like people who host workshops. They feel like drawn to like play again, which is also, if I look back why I started, it was also like I was in this job, I was really bored. I was like, I had built enough savings to be able to like spend a year, 6 months to a year, just doing something for fun. And then when I see like these craft workshops, I was like, this is it. Like, this is the kind of fun I need in my life. So that sounds a really cool story. And so you started hosting workshops this year, is that correct? Yeah. So how many sessions have you hosted so far?
I've sort of averaged like one a month. Last month I did 2 in one day. I did my first mother-daughter event in the school holidays.
Cute.
I had one at night and then I had a private one on the Friday. And it was
Amazing.
it was a lot.
Yeah,
it was a lot for me.
wow.
Because especially when you're holding space for other people, like not just hosting. So I've only literally just had a rest last week. I was like, I just need to not think about it. I need to switch off. I can feel a lot of anxiety. So I switched off and it was amazing. I actually still had things come through. But yeah, I think resting is a really big thing. Especially
totally.
being your own business and it just being like 24/7. You think about it when you're eating, when you're sleeping, like all of the time. So I think rest is important.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Like, I couldn't agree more. I think like just the nature of, there's people who are introverts and extroverts. So I think like extroverts probably have it a little bit easier because they get energized from being with people. But I found that a lot of hosts are actually introverts, which it's quite interesting, which can be amazing because you also need to be social, but it can also like just be really draining. So it's good to know that you're resting because it's definitely something I didn't do at the start when I was going a bit crazy with all the workshops that I was doing. So you started this year, and do you do workshops full time? Like, or do you have like other gigs or?
I work with my husband in our family business.
And do you find like that you have quite a good balance, like between, the work on your business with your husband and the workshops? Like you just talking about like the importance of resting, but do you feel like, do you want to do more of the workshops and how do you see like that evolving, or do you find like doing one a month or a couple of months is kind of like the ideal for you?
Yeah, so at the moment I've like recently, probably in the last few months, I've planned the one a month, but I've had other things come through. So I recently got booked for 2 private parties and like one's for 15 women in December, so that will be really fun. I also got approached by an entertainment company who want me to be a vendor for an outdoor fair. So it's part of City of Sydney. So they closed down the street in Glebe and they have like a full outdoor festival. But I So I'll have a stand and I've basically curated my workshop so that you can do it in like 10, 15 minutes. So basically doing
Mhm.
little joy cards, but they are some really fun opportunities that have come my way. So I love the idea of having my one workshop so that people can come to my standalone event and also having things that are on for, I've also doing another activation for another council as well.
Wow, that's really interesting how it's kind of like almost taking its own shape in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also a component of like, you're doing things and it's being seen, so people naturally gravitate towards that who
Mm.
resonate. But I think that's a way more like organic or grounding way of growing other than what I did, which is like putting on a shit ton of events and then selling out a shit ton of tickets and just pray for the best in hope that I don't
Yeah.
burn out. So I think like you're very smart, very smart. You're doing it in a good way.
Thank
So
you.
take us back to when you first started with your first events, because I think that's usually where I get a lot of questions from people. Like, you already talked about reaching out to a venue, which is an awesome, first step. But then if you can like run us through, you kind of already had the idea. But if you could run us through like how you ran the first event and if you kind of changed after the first event or like lessons that you've learned after the first event. Because I think like that, usually the first steps is what holds people back the most. And
Mm.
it's not so much about the how. Sometimes it's usually like more about, believing in themselves. But if you could like take us back to the very first one, I think that's usually really valuable for people.
Yeah, and I think this is something that I have really grown into this year, especially. Like, I have had so many ideas, and it's like, let's do this. I was coached, I had all of these things, but I never did it. Like, I've had so many ideas that have just died because I didn't have the courage to actually just do it. And I did it. I decided and I took action before I was ready. So I remember I went for a walk with a friend and she said, so what are you going to do to start your business? And I said, I'm going to ask 5 venues if I can host it there. So I had a little list and I went out and I was like sitting and having coffee and, having something to eat. And I was like, just ask her. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to ask her. And then I asked her and it was really easy. And she said, what day do you want to have it? And I was like, oh my God, this is so easy. Like, people are so supportive. I think that's the thing. People are so supportive of you starting. So people, literally strangers, are so willing to help. So I did. And it was even when I set up the Eventbrite and I was like, Susan, what are you doing? I was like, people are not going to pay for this. And also the receiving of money, the putting on a price tag of what you think it is worth. And it's like, oh no, people aren't going to pay that. They don't know me. All of that is there's so much inner work in that as well. But it was like, I remember talking to a friend and she said, Susan, it needs to be at least $50. You are putting on food, you're putting on drinks, all of the craft things, your time. And I was like, it was such a big thing, but and it has been every single time. And it's like, oh my God, who's going to come? Who's going to listen to me? So I think I've really have now gotten comfortable being uncomfortable and also sharing about it and like talking about it. I had an event about 3 weeks ago and there was a room full of 300 people and my arm shot up and I was like, I'm going to speak and share my story. And then it was like, Susan, what are you doing? And I was like, no, I want to get picked. And anyway, I got picked and I shared my story about my business. And it was to give my business a plug, but it was like, if you don't talk about your business, people aren't going to know that you exist. People aren't going to be able to come if they don't know about you. So from that, I was asked to go to Melbourne to speak. I was asked to go on a podcast. I had women come up to me who literally just wanted to tell me their story. And it was
Oh, wow.
purely because, and I almost felt like they're not really asking me anything. They're just wanting to tell me. And it's because I started and they just wanted somebody to say, and I find this a lot with women, the same way that we seek approval from one another, we also seek permission. So it's like, if I've started and I'm just an ordinary girl, then you can start too. And you just start by making the decision.
Mhm.
So yeah, my first workshop was amazing. And I think the thing that really cemented it was for me was I did a meditation. I do an inner child meditation. I'm not a meditation facilitator in any way. I've never done a meditation for anybody else. And I remember I was writing it out, and it was sort of like a blend of different meditations that I've sat in before. And it was the morning of, and I had a friend come over and help me. And when she was here, I was like, I have to redo it. So I rewrote it, and I rewrote it the way that I imagined it. And when I was at the event and I started off the workshop with my story, a little bit about the business, and also I did the meditation, I had women in tears, and I was like, my God, because my whole intention is for you to connect with your inner child. Like everybody brings a photo of themselves. And I was like, what did you see? And she said, I saw her. She was wearing like a red and pink polka dot dress. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I realized then it was like, this is the thing. This is so powerful. And although it's play, there's something healing in it as well. And I was like, I just have to keep doing this. And also I had women who didn't know each other, met each other at my event, and then became really good friends afterwards. And they were out the following week, and I thought, oh, how beautiful. And I messaged them and I said, I didn't know you guys knew each other. And they said, no, we didn't. We met at your event. And I was like, oh my God, this is so special, because it was like, that's my whole intention, that you connect with other women too. And I realized doing this, it's like, women, we're actually so similar. We go through the same things, and it's not till you sit down together that you find this out. And it's like, we can relate so much. There's so much joy in like being together, and also not performing. It's not a work meeting. It doesn't matter what your KPIs are or where you've come from. You just sit and you make something with your hands, and it actually doesn't need to be good. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be anything. It's just something that you make. And to sit beside another woman and do that is so special.
Yeah. I mean, you're preaching to the choir here, because I think like I completely agree, and totally not surprised that some people cried, because I mean, I don't know how much, people listening to this or you know much like about psychology and or therapy, but I have done quite a fair share of inner work, let's say, and
Yes.
the stuff with like the inner child. It's like when you start, especially if you have a photo in front of you that's so strong,
Mm.
things start coming up. So I'm not surprised at all, and that's amazing. I think combining that with art, I think it can be really healing, and it's kind of just what we need more in the world, like in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why when I saw your stuff, I was like, yeah, she's a woman on a mission. I can see it. Like it's very clear
Mm.
what she's doing. So with that first event, you did like a trial with some friends, and then when you booked the first one, because I don't remember if you already had a bit of an audience. I don't remember when exactly you jumped on board of the academy, and I don't remember if you already had a bit of an audience then or not. But how did you go from like, you listed the event in Eventbrite, and then I don't know how many tickets you sold, but how did you go from that event with friends to a sold out first event? Like, how did you promote it, or what was your
I
audience like?
I can't even remember what my Instagram following was, but it was quite small. I only had like a few hundred people, maybe 600 or so. And I shared it on social, and I did do a boost. So I boosted an ad, and I think I probably only put like $12 on for a
Mhm.
week, and it sold out. Yeah, I was really surprised. I was like, oh my God, because I could see people would follow me, and then 5 minutes later I had sold a ticket, and I was like, oh my gosh. And it's interesting because it's like arts and crafts combined with personal development and doing inner work. It was like, it's sort of, how do I describe this? It's like I don't even describe what you do in the workshop. I describe the woman that you are. And I think that was really key for me, because it was like the woman who grew up being the good girl who always colored inside the lines. And I had women, because everybody who follows me, I say hi to. Like, it's not automated. It'll come a few days later, and I will say hi to people. And it's like, I used to color in all my life, and I'm like, me too. So it was resonating with people on a deeper level than just come to my arts and craft event. And I think that has been probably a key thing to my success, because I had people who aren't into crafting at all. Like, they haven't sat down with a blank piece of paper and like stickers in like the longest time. Or I'll also say things like, for the woman who still has her childhood stickers because they were too precious. Like, that was me. I'm 44 and I still have my childhood stickers because they were so precious and I never used them. And I was like, there is a whole community of women who now follow me who still have that. And it's like unlearning all of the things and unpacking all of that. But I think the beautiful thing is that you don't have to come to my workshop and I'm not going to, as part of it, you don't have to do inner child healing. You don't have to go see a therapist. It's done through play. And I think that's so important because it's like you can go to therapy for years and do all of the different modalities, which I have done time and time again. But it's like you never have a therapist say to you, go play, go to the park and go on the swings and be in your joy, or do the things that you used to do when you were a kid. Make a little chatterbox, fold things, fold a piece of paper into a paper plane, or just color in for no reason whatsoever. And just like, it just unlocks pockets of joy. And it's like, that's all we need sometimes as adults, as busy adults trying to do all of the things and all of the to-do lists, is to just do something for nothing. And for me, I really have found like some sense of healing and some sense of joy in doing things like that. So I guess that's like what I wanted to share in my workshop. It's like, it's not about doing all the therapies and everything. It's about playing.
Yeah, no, I totally feel you. I totally agree with you. I think it's just so important. And the fact that it's sold out so quickly with such a little budget, it just shows like, I think it's really like just what the world needs. I don't know. I don't know how to explain in like kind of logical way. Is it like not something I really read or studied, but maybe it's been like technology, but there's definitely like this disconnection. I feel like a lot of the things that we do as adults is kind of like a more for a purpose of a goal or performance. And I think like just connecting to that play is just so important. So can you I feel like I kind of have a good idea of what a workshop with you would be like, but it could just be me because, well, I pretty much, seen all your social media posts and kind of like familiar with like, the world of workshops and especially like inner child stuff. But could you like kind of run us, like if you just met this woman and you were describing her what was going to happen at the event, like what kind of things they're creating or materials, like, or how long it lasts, like anything more.
So they normally run for 2 hours, and I usually start it with a welcome. I tell that Disneyland story about how I started it, and I also do a short meditation. And then after that, I've been running 2 workshops. So you either get a blank journal or you get a foam core board. And I have heaps of stickers, washi tape, paper crafts, glue, trinkets, cordless glue guns, which is such a hit. And basically you have full permission to use everything and anything that you want, stick it on the cover of the journal, inside the journal, and also on the foam core board. Feedback that I get is that it's never quite long enough because women can sit there for hours. But, I always need like a time cap. I always find it hard to finish. So maybe about 3 workshops ago, I started introducing a sharing circle. So it's like we're going to pause. Everybody gets there, stands up or, shares about. It's like, remember news at school? I don't know if you did that, but it was like, you stand up there and you like have something that you got over the weekend or you saw when you're out and you basically explain what it is. So it's really beautiful because you sort of you can get like video testimonials like on the spot that you can use. I haven't shared any of those yet, but it's like, they can share that they were, that they're really shy and that they've come to this event alone. They can share why they what they stuck on the journal. And I have quite like nostalgic stickers. Like I have like Smurfs and Flintstones and like old cartoons or like strawberry shortcake and things like that. So they'll share a little bit about that. And then I find I can wrap things up and like swiftly get people off. That's basically how the workshop runs.
That is such a good problem to have. Like there's been a few of Academy members that have asked me like, oh, I finish, it's meant to be 2 hours, I finish and people are still here and I don't want to kick them out. But that just shows like you've done something really right if people don't want to leave. of course, like you have to like have some structure to then, kind of encourage people to leave. That was a really good strategy to kind of like show and tell of your work and what you've
Yeah.
done. But yeah, that's usually a really good sign. So I'm not surprised at all. And so I guess you kind of already talked about how is shaping for you with people coming to you with like some brand collaborations in
Yeah.
some not, it wasn't a market, but it was like a fair you were talking about.
Yep.
Do you feel like because I feel like you are more creating experiences around connecting with your inner child more so than like the craft is just a medium of it. So
Yeah.
do you see it exploring to different crafts, or do you see it exploring to different kinds of experiences that allow you to connect with your inner child but doesn't necessarily involve crafts? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you
Probably
have
the
like a vision?
Yeah, so I and probably a little bit of both actually. So I've recently done, because I have a fashion background, I recently did a 21-day dress up challenge, and it's about, because it's not about the clothes that you wear, it's about being seen and allowing yourself to be seen and allowing yourself to wear color. And like I was saying before, it's like the same way women seek approval, we also seek permission. So if I wear a pink jumpsuit out and somebody sees me, another woman will be like, oh, I've got a red one. Maybe I should wear that. Like, maybe it's okay to. So that was amazing. So I will be looking at integrating fashion more into my business, but also the opportunities that I've had around doing the street fair with, City of Sydney, they're amazing. There are also things that I haven't really planned or accounted for that have just come my way. And it's like, "Oh, this could be super amazing. Like hundreds of people could come through. And also, it's a free activation for the community. So I think that's a really big thing as well.
Yeah, I can totally see that. And I guess like from what you were telling me, you kind of already had an entrepreneur. I mean, I don't know what you were doing. I guess you weren't working just before, or you were working for the business, like your family business.
So I,
The
yeah, sorry. So
Yeah.
I finished up in fashion. I went to work for digital publishers. And
Hmm.
then a couple of years ago, I started an online business. And I think I know I learnt a lot about social media and showing up and
Hmm.
also like boosting ads and things like that from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it kind of makes sense like that are it kind of like didn't happen out of the blue. Like you already kind of had like the entrepreneurial sort of bug in you. To
Yeah.
kind of take this forward. And let me just go here through. I feel like I've covered quite a lot of the questions that I had on my list.
Hmm.
Or if I didn't cover them, like you ended up explaining them anyway. You kind of said how the events are evolving. Are there any like, I guess I haven't really asked or we talked much about like challenges or um I guess like lessons that you have learned. I don't know if you want to go into
Mm.
that, or if you still quite early
Um,
on, or
think lessons, what I wrote down for this. I always ask for feedback after a workshop. So I'll
hmm
usually voice note people on Instagram just to say thank you, and also, what you liked about it. And I find people are so honest. At my very first workshop, I had my husband, because he's in video, take content for me. And I had a woman say that she wasn't comfortable because he was a man, and I'm trying to create this safe space for women. And it's like all fair and well, because obviously I feel safe with him because he's my husband, but it's like these women didn't know him. And I was like, wow, that's such a big thing, especially if there were other women who were also not comfortable and didn't say anything. And, he's never been at my events ever again. I'm like, can you bring the car and help me with the stuff, but don't come in? So asking for feedback has been really good. And also, I'm always willing to add things. Like recently, I had feedback was because now I've done that sharing circle at the end, but in the beginning, if I'm waiting for people to come because they're a little bit late, I don't know whether I hold back on sharing my story and doing the meditation and they're missing out on it, or whether I sort of start the activity like straight off the bat. So I've recently had feedback about doing like an icebreaker. So whether it's like,
hmm
I don't know, conversations where they ask each other like favorite cartoons or like fun memories as a kid, and doing something like that. So I might be introducing something like that into it.
Interesting. Yeah. That's
Hmm.
a really good idea. I feel like for me, well, I definitely had a similar a very similar situation where there was a man in the vicinity, and I got some feedback that it wasn't very, it was kind of unexpected and made things a little bit uncomfortable.
Mm.
So I can totally, and because I knew that person, I never thought, I never thought that it would cause that to someone. And when someone said, I was like, oh wow, like it never occurred to me.
Yeah.
But with the start, I guess it kind of really, I usually always give like 5-10 minutes of like
Mm.
courtesy, because people, are just sitting down and they grabbing a snack, or, they're taking the jackets or whatever, looking around the materials. That usually works quite well. But after those 5-10 minutes, I usually just get started, because otherwise, it runs over.
Yeah.
But there'll be a natural flow of things for you. I'm sure you'll find out. It's not,
Yeah.
that's not a make or break it. It's like this kind of businesses are always like continuous improvement. So
Mm.
it's very good in you asking for feedback. I feel like that's such an important thing. I wish I'd done that more in the beginning. I think
Mm.
in the beginning of my business, I was kind of afraid of asking for feedback, because I'm so highly critical of everything that I knew the feedback. Like I knew where I needed to improve. And so I didn't really ask people, because I feel like I couldn't take it. Like I know, I know where I messed up. Don't point out more things. But I
Mm.
think that's such an important thing to do. So yeah, I think you're on a really good track. Oh my gosh. If there's kind of like a few like rapid fire questions, but before we get into that, I know that you just started and you kind of, I mean, I don't know if you'd consider it to still be on a testing phase or more on a growth phase, but from based on like, the experience that you've had so far, if you were giving some advice for someone who hasn't started, I feel like I can already see what you would say, but if you were giving some advice, or like, like the 3 kind of practical essential steps of how to someone go around, never hosted a workshop, to be hosting the first workshop, like what would you suggest to people?
I would suggest just taking imperfect action.
Mm-hmm.
I would also suggest, even if it's a friend, somebody who's also starting their business or has started their business, because it's a completely different conversation than to people who are working 9 to 5 and just have a boss. Like they just don't understand you and what you're going through. So I think having like a support person is really key. And also, I think a big thing that I've learned is rest, because it's all consuming, especially in the very beginning. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
no,
also
I
probably one
totally.
other thing would be, don't be afraid to let people know. Like, I think the
Mm-hmm.
whole selling piece is like, "Oh, I've just tried to sell them my last workshop and now I've got another one. Should I let them know?" And it's like, people love the follow-up. Like, people love knowing, that you've got another one on when they couldn't make the last one. So I think that's key too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like we're very, very aligned. Now, before, I don't know how long we've been chatting. Oh, only 36 minutes, but by the time we finish, it'll probably be a bit longer. I
Mhm.
also got an electrician coming to my house shortly. And I guess he's here a bit earlier. He's only meant to come at 4. But anyway, for the quick, rapid kind of questions, I think some of these you kind of already mentioned. But you mentioned that you started hosting in a cafe.
Mhm.
Was it a cafe?
Yes.
Are you still using like what has been your experience with venues? Like, are you still using that venue, or do you have like other
No.
favorite venues, or how has
So
that
I
been like?
started it in the cafe. I've also hosted in a bookshop, which
Oh,
was
cool.
really beautiful, but it was so much work having enough
Mm,
space.
yeah.
So now the last few I've done, I've hired out this small art gallery and it's been perfect because I've
Oh,
got
wow.
like a look, and I've got like little props and things like that, like pink paper flowers and things like that. I wanted a blank canvas. Like I didn't want photos and then there's like oat milk in the background or like a coffee machine and like things like that. So the art gallery is perfect. It's small. It's because there's like community halls and things like that, but it's too big and it's too big to fill. And also, you might need a microphone and it'll feel small because the room's so big. So I feel like having the right venue is really key. And also because people feel more comfortable, like, it's just like I'm trying to create a safe space. So it's like, it's nice. It's like all white and yeah, it's beautiful. So I've been
Mm.
hosting it there.
Yeah, that's amazing. And what has been your like in terms of the marketing and promotion that you've done? what has been your main like go-to channel or go-to, I don't know if you're still using Eventbrite to sell tickets or
I
if
have
you
moved onto my own ticketing page through my own, it's called Beacons. So I've been
Mhm.
doing that. Sorry, what was your question?
like your go-to sort of promotion channel or
Oh,
marketing
yeah.
channel to get
Yeah.
signups. Yeah.
So my whole business is through Instagram, and
Mhm.
I've had success boosting it before the event. So after an event, I'll boost it, and then people will be like, "Oh, when's the next one? When's the next one?" So creating momentum that way. And I've sold out of the next workshop by doing that. But also, I've also had success when I've put up the post and then I've boosted it. And a coach told me to do this. Instead of saying that your link is in the bio, because that's another step for them to take, I just get them to write a word. So it could be joy or workshop or whatever it is. And then because you're getting comments and then you reply and say, check your DMs, that sort of creates momentum, which Instagram
Mhm.
loves because you have 30 comments and then you reply. So you have 60 comments on there. So that's been really great as well. But I've just found that I'll do one thing and then it's like gone gangbusters and then I'll try it again. And it's like, Instagram's like, no, we're going to change that on you and it's not going to work. So I've
Interesting.
just had to play around with it. But I normally do a 3-week cycle. So I'll start promoting it and then the event's 3 weeks later.
Yeah, interesting. And do you find that that's enough time to sell all the tickets?
Yeah, I have.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah. I
The last
usually
one I
always
had was after a long weekend and it was also school holidays.
Mhm.
That was tricky. I probably had half the numbers that I normally have.
Interesting. Yeah, that always plays kind of like, school holidays or national holidays and that kind of stuff, or maybe even sometimes other big events happening in the city
Mm,
that always influences ticket sales. That's for sure. I mean, that's been my experience as well. I guess for different like bigger cities like New York and stuff like that, it's probably a bit different. But I feel like New Zealand and Australia, it's not that massively different. It's just the
yeah.
size. Yeah. And there was another question that I had, which is like about the workshop itself, like something that you kind of always tell your attendees, but I feel like you kind of already explain, your meditation and stuff, but in your story. But I don't know if there's anything about the workshops itself that you feel like you haven't talked about.
I guess a big thing that I share is about permission. Like, I still
Mm-hmm.
have women put their hand up and ask if they can go to the bathroom. And it's like, you can go to the bathroom and you can also do whatever you want. It's like your journal. It's like, oh, can we stick stickers inside? And like, yes, you can. And it's like, I know that is such deep seated from our youth, right? Like, we just seek permission from everyone and to do all the things. And it's like, you have full permission to do whatever you want. If you want to tear up your journal and burn the edges, you can. It's like, it's yours. But I want you to have this and to be not something that you write your shopping list and your to-do list. I want it to be for joy. So it's like, I want you to write joyous memories or when somebody gave you a beautiful compliment. So that's what the journal's about. But yeah, I feel like permission's a big thing that I give examples of. And also there's it's so visible. You can always spot the perfectionist in the room because she doesn't want to stick. Like a sticker is such big commitment. It's like, where am I going to stick it? And then once you've stuck it down, it's like, oh, I don't really want it there. But you risk ruining it if you try to peel it off. And it's like, ladies, just let it go. Just let it
Yeah.
go.
I feel you. I feel you. That is just so wholesome. Yeah, I'm so glad that we caught up. And I'm so glad like I guess you randomly found me on social media. That's usually
Yeah.
how I find people. And also, I mean, that's probably something a bit more I haven't really added to the questions to chat, but I'm not sure if you want to. If you don't want to, like we can cut it out. But I'm really curious to, I feel like you've already kind of gave me a bit of feedback on the academy. I feel like we've chatted about it. I don't remember from the top of my head because I'm always kind of stalking members and trying to get feedback from them because I only get feedback if members leave and then there's a form. I feel like you fill out
Yep.
the form, but
Yeah.
if you could share a little bit more like about why you signed up, what your experience was like. I feel like you already a moving train when you find me. That's my impression. Like you're already a moving train. You're a woman on a mission. You would have
Yeah.
done it without me. That is 100%. But if you could share like any specific things for people who might be like on the fence, either on the fence of hosting workshops, on the fence for joining the academy, like
Mm.
what your experience was like. I know you weren't there for a super long time, maybe a couple of months, but anyway,
Yeah.
anything that you can say, I'm always happy to hear people's opinions and feedback.
I'm notorious for purchasing courses and never actually doing them. But I did do your course. I did finish the academy. So a little pat on the back for me. And I found it to be because I think I already had already started, but it
Mm-hmm.
cemented things for me. It's like doing the trial run,
Mm-hmm.
approaching venues and doing it that like, a certain way because it was like, I don't know how do I ask someone? And it's like, I just ask them. And it's like, sharing your why and like why you want to do it and how many people and how long it's going to go for. So I feel like the academy was really good in terms of like giving you steps and giving you structure on how to do things because let's face it, majority of people who are doing workshops are creatives. And it's like, just because you're creative, it doesn't mean that you have like the business sense and the entrepreneurial side. So like having all the steps and how to do things and actually how to monetize it is a whole other thing than doing crafts because you love it and because, you want to sit and play. And it's like, it's a whole different ball game. So I think the academy is amazing for that, like showing you how to
Thank you.
monetize it. And also, I still have your spreadsheet on like how to work out your costs of, what it costs you per workshop and dividing that by how many people come and also working out if you want to make X amount of dollars in a month, how many workshops you need to actually do to do that. So that's been really amazing for me. And like, yeah, I'm still using your spreadsheet. So thank you.
Oh, that's amazing. That makes me so happy. That just means the world to me because there was kind of like, I mean, that's the whole goal of the academy is to like, help people get to where they want to go. And I totally feel you in terms of like, especially the monetization part. I
Yeah.
find like people really struggle with pricing. Like pricing is probably like once they've already started, pricing is their next battle because most people are afraid to charge because they always think, oh, but they could do it themselves. But people will not do it themselves. And the whole point is that they come and they hang out with other people and with you as a guide. And anyway, I now I'm preaching and rambling, but yeah, thank you so much. That was very nice of you to say. And I'm very happy that we crossed paths and you joined the academy and that you're still finding it helpful. That is basically, my mission. And last question, if you could wave a magic wand and kind of catapult you to I don't know, a year, could be 5 years, or could be 10, like you decided, or it could be 6 months, like you decide a time frame, because I know like some people really, I don't want to sound like a job interviewer is like, where are you going to see in 5 years? But like in an ideal world, like in whatever time frame you choose to commit the vision for, if you could wave a magic wand, what does this journey of like hosting workshops look like for you?
So I actually had a coffee with a woman who is an inner child healer, like she does a lot of healing work. And she said to me, it was by chance that we were having this coffee. And she said to me, oh, you know what I would love? I would love to do a retreat with, like, to partner with someone. And I was like, can I tell you now? And she was like, yeah. And I said, I wanted one too, but I wanted to partner with somebody who does actual inner child healing. So anyway, we're literally holding hands going, ooh. So we're going to do a trial. We're going to do like a 1-day workshop before we start doing 2 nights overnight somewhere. But I love the idea of doing like a, 2-night, 3-day retreat with women. I imagine it would only be small, but it would be doing the inner child healing with her and then like playing and dancing and doing all these craft workshops. So like you do all the healing, probably day 1 or like day 1.5. And then by the time you leave, you have this sense of play and wonder about your life. And yeah, I just see it and I feel like it'll be so joyous. I also would love to continue doing my workshops and also growing working with councils and also private events. I actually ran a workshop for a hairdressing salon because I had businesses follow me, and I always say hi to anybody who follows me. And I was like, oh, hi, thinking nothing of it. Anyway, she was like, I'd love for you to come and host a workshop at the salon. I was like, really? So I go and the whole salon is pink and it is such a vibe and it's all women and it was really beautiful. So doing things like that really lights me up as well. And yeah, so I guess that's sort of where I'm seeing things go.
Yeah, like a lot of collaborations. I love the idea of the retreats. Like the retreats, I am down. Like if they're in Australia, I am purchasing a ticket and going to Australia again if I can fit it in my schedule. But that,
Yeah.
yeah,
There's actually a
that's so cool.
place where you hire it out and they only take, craft, like, retreats. So they've got, like,
Oh.
painting studios, tables for sewing machines, like, all of the things. So I've already found the place. It's gonna be amazing.
Wow, it's gonna be amazing. You already have the place, so it's definitely happening. That sounds so awesome. Okay, I'll be there. Just let me know in advance so that I can
Yeah.
plan my life around it, but I'll be there. It sounds awesome. That is so amazing. I'm so glad that we got to chat on the podcast. I think your story is just so awesome and inspiring, and I'm 100% sure that a lot of people will resonate and find, helpful, insightful information in it. If nothing at all, just the motivation to get it started, because I think that's really what holds a lot of people back.
Mm.
So I don't know if you have any questions or if you have any other like little things that you feel like we haven't touched. I think I've like covered my questions. I mean, I could keep on talking for the rest of the day with you because this is especially a topic. Like, I mean, I love psychology and I love crafts. So like the blend of the two is like, yes,
Yeah.
this is which I haven't with my own workshops. My workshops are very social. I haven't fully leaned into like the more like, I guess, personal development side of it.
Mm.
It's something that I'm exploring now, but it's something that I really love. It's just never been top of mind for me.
Mm.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Susan.
welcome.
I'm so glad we chatted and I'm excited to see the things that happen for you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will like stop the recording, but
Mhm.
don't leave. Okay, don't leave.
Okay.
Just stay here.
I
Also,
actually wanted
probably
to ask you,
yeah.
what do you do around Christmas? Do you do any workshops over Christmas and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. This year, I'm only doing 2 kind of Christmas. I have 3 public workshops for sale at the moment. Well, two are sold out, the Christmas ones, but Christmas themed, I'm only doing 2 like painting Christmas bubbles, like ceramic
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
bubbles. And I've done that last year as well, and they were all sold out. In this year, but I still had a lot of like leftover materials, so I'm kind of like trying to reuse things from last year. The year before last, I did, which I was doing way more workshops. I kind of like, once my online stuff kind of took over, I've been doing less and less workshops.
Mm.
But 2 years ago, I guess, like 2 Christmas ago, I did like Christmas wreaths, but like with the base, it was like, what do you call it? The base was like a natural sort of, when you like put little sticks together, there's a name for it, but English is not my first language and I'm not seeing the word. It's like a natural, like, I think like florists do that. Like I bought them already
Oh,
assembled, but florists do it and like they put little sticks and wrap it around it and it creates
yeah.
like a hoop. So we had
Yeah.
those. And then people used like decorations like bubbles or like these like fake like pine, like real pine cones, but like fake tree little
Yeah.
things to make a wreath. So we did Christmas wreaths a couple years ago in like polymer clay decorations. So yeah, I think Christmas is a really good time to do
So
workshops.
how
Usually
close
people
do you do it? Like, I've got a workshop on the 7th.
December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like if it's any later than that, like, do people still come? Or do people
I
go
think
away?
the latest my latest one this year is on the 5th.
Yeah.
I think last year my latest one was like on the 12 or 13, something like that, whatever weekend. There would have
Mm.
definitely been a weekend. I've never done any further than that because I feel like, I mean, I don't know if it's the same case in Australia, but here in New Zealand, people get crazy with like, work dues
Yeah.
and they travel for Christmas. So
Mm.
I don't do any after that because I feel like people are just too busy.
Yeah. And when
But
do you start it again?
when do I restart the workshops?
Yeah.
I have done, well, for next year, I don't know. But in the past, I've kind of restarted in February
Yeah.
because here, January, it's the Christmas holidays here, right? Like it's also Christmas holidays for you
Yeah.
guys. So I find it, I mean, I have seen people do workshops in January and it being sold out. From
Mm.
my experience, is not like it's very quiet. So I usually just take January off and then kickstart again in Feb.
Yeah.
Feb, like the first week of Feb could be a touch and go depending on the workshop because of back to school.
Yeah.
But then March takes off and like, yeah, March,
Mm.
April, it's good months again. But yeah, that's been kind of like, which I feel like for you will also be applied because we're very different, very similar,
Yeah.
very similar markets, I suppose.
Mm.
Yeah. That's been my experience so far.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna like wrap it up with like just, saying goodbye to people. And then because I guess I haven't stopped the recording. This has just been recording, which is fine. All right. Thank you, everyone who listened until now. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you have listened all the way here and you have enjoyed this, hearing about Susan and our story, if you could leave a review on the podcast. This is actually the first time I'm asking for a review during a session, but if anyone who's listening to this could go and leave a review, that is really, really helpful to like keep the podcast going and like do the ratings and all like the techie stuff. So anyone listening to that, go do it. Like, go do it now, because we're wrapping up, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.